And that is it for all the facts and figures. And now we like to talk a little bit about what we think about these ships. And as someone less familiar with BSG, I'd love to hear your thoughts first, Stuart.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm least familiar. I knew Battlestar Galactica existed before you were even born.
This is true, but...
And I watched it as a young buck. So Battlestar Galactica has got a very important place in my heart. I just haven't seen the whole new series, and people are going to stone me to death for that. But I've seen most of it, and it's very enjoyable. Anyway, I like the Pegasus. I think it's great. It's a great callback to the original Battlestar Galactica. It's got the same look. They definitely it was a nice homage to the original Battlestar Galactica in the way it was designed, and I would have liked to see more of it. I would have liked it to be the main Battlestar Galactica, in my opinion. Would have liked to see more of it, because it's a very beautiful design. And then when the Pegasus came in, they could have made it an even bigger and badder ship and look different. But I like it, personally.
And what did you think when the Pegasus was actually, revealed in the show, and it's like, we're not alone? What do you remember that being like?
It's like the spark of hope. Like, oh my god, they got somebody else to help out, because they got the Galactica, which is pretty battered. And
the museum.
Yeah, exactly. And protecting this fleet of civilian ships. So to have another bigger Battlestar, which could actually build new Vipers and actually replenish the fleet a bit. It was great. I mean, you were hopeful, but at the same time, watching the original Battlestar Galactica, you knew it was going to happen eventually to the Pegasus. So
yeah, I was watching all Battlestar Galactica live when it was coming out, so I was getting it, as it was happening. And what an incredible time for sci-fi. You had Stargate SG-1 at 8, Atlantis at 9, BSG at 10. I mean, what an amazing... And Enterprise, I think, on a different day. So 2004 onwards was a really phenomenal time for sci-fi. Battlestar Galactica was an incredible show when it came out, and clearly I'm a fan because I went ahead and bought and got a uniform, and certainly some of the best sci-fi for a long time. It's just how it's done. The original Galactica design is great, very different, a bit more organic, but it kind of was designed to look old in like a sort of girder way. When the Pegasus arrives, it feels fresh, it feels new, and you're right, it does. I know the designers were going for a much more original Galactica feel, 78 version, and it does feel like that, but cleverer and more thought out. Like they had some time to I think it was redesigning Galactica, knowing what you know now, like hindsight, and building a new version. When I first saw the Pegasus, that was one of my favourite episodes of BSG. I wasn't a person who wanted to know what was going to happen ahead. I wanted to enjoy it as it happened. So when you first hear Pegasus and you see that first shot, and it's like everything's changed, and it is an incredible thing, because I adore the Pegasus design. It's one of my favourite sci-fi ships. I don't know why. That's what bit confuses me. It's a very simple design, but I absolutely adore it. That and the X304 from Stargate are two of my most favourite. That's why I try to get Pegasus in this original lineup, And when I got the 3D model, it's like, oh my god, it's a superb design, functionally and stylistically and kick-assery. I mean, it ticks every box, and its progression through the show was incredible. And then, honestly, its demise, while beautiful, honestly made me tear up a little bit first time. I just the way it was, because it was such a cool ship, and obviously we love ships. A bit embarrassing to say, but it really did, and I still know the music of that cue, and I can But yeah, I really loved the Pegasus design, and I mean just the storylines that came about with her, with Kane and Razor the movie and all these things. It's just everything was right with that, and I absolutely adored the ship design.
Well, that's one thing I liked about the original Pegasus, the way they handled it, because it destroyed the two base stars, but there was no wreckage from it. It was could have been lost again. So it was still a question up in the air whether it was going to come back. And I think they pitched a show idea around the same time to focus on the Pegasus separately, which would have been very cool to see.
Although I recall that they reused the same model shot, so the Pegasus looked like the Galactica in the original show.
Yeah, they were pretty much the same ship. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be sized bigger, but you only see them like in formation. They don't see them side by side really. So yeah, that's one of the things that they could have done a little bit better, I think. Is added something new and different to it. But
And I'll admit that I had seen the original Battlestar before I saw the new one, but I hadn't actively. I mean, this was before YouTube. This was before the internet, and we didn't have the DVDs or we didn't have the VHSs. So I mean, I watched whatever was around. I think my dad had like 2 episodes on a VHS, and I saw one. I saw one on the TV. I think I saw one on the pilot. So I really hadn't seen the show. So while I knew about the Galactica, I hadn't seen the Pegasus episodes. So when the Pegasus came out in the new show, you were like, oh, cool, they brought Pegasus back from the original, and it gets blown up. I had none of that going into it, so I saw it as, oh, a new ship, and then, oh no, destroyed. Whereas actually, you're right, it's a reboot, but actually mimics some of the design, some of the even story points of the original show, which is part of why it works so incredibly well. And like I say, the ship. There's one little thing I'll ask you, and did you actually watch up to its destruction, or have we just spoiled that for you in the show?
no, I knew it was getting destroyed. I haven't seen it yet in the show.
Okay.
Don't hate me, guys. I mean, like he said, there was a lot of sci-fi going on at the time, but at that point in my life, I had a wife and kids and a job, and I just couldn't watch sci-fi. I'm getting caught up now, though.
Yes, he's finally watching Babylon 5. Announcement, he's finally watching Babylon 5. It's a different Fleetyards, though. When... Obviously, you've seen some of the Pegasus. Now, some people, I think it's fair to say, it's a much more... this episode, it tells you, it's a much superior ship to the Galactica. It takes less crew, yet has more space. You can build new Vipers, all these amazing things. Why didn't Adama place his flag? I suppose Kane was in charge, but when Kane died very, very quickly, why didn't he put his flag on Pegasus? Do you think that should have happened? Do you think that would have made sense?
That's one thing that's always confused me. Yes, I think that would have made sense. You go with the superior ship, especially when you're in command of the fleet. But then captains get very attached to their ships, and despite the Galactica being a bit of a rust bucket and not really prepared for what it's out there doing, it's served them well, and she was a fine old lady. So I can understand both aspects of that, but I would want to move my flag to the newer, bigger, better ship. Absolutely.
I mean, when watching Blood and Chrome, you see that Adama, because he's a young man in that, the Battlestar Galactica was a famous ship when he just started being a Viper pilot. So imagine, the hero ship of the war, and then you get to command it, years later, and you're on command maybe 10 whatever years, and you've made it your home. Wow. Yes, you maybe haven't done much war with it, but I mean that's a hell of a thing.
It would be
then abandon.
It would be like me, commanding the TOS Enterprise, leading this ragtag fleet, and then all of a sudden the Excelsior comes in. Yeah, it's newer and flashier, but I'd be like, you just do your job, protect my ship. I'm going to stay over here where my heart is. That's what it is. Right. Honestly,
that's a wonderful comparison, because guess what? Kirk and the crew did the exact same thing. So that's exactly what happened. But I mean, even so, the Pegasus was always a bit sterile on purpose. I mean, those sets were wonderfully simple and yet efficient. It's a very sterile place. That is a true military warship. The Galactica was as well, but as they mentioned in the pilot or the miniseries, they had to fight the war with the Cylons, the first war. They had to build older stuff to cope with their more advanced technology. So you've got that more old feel, which sort of has a more homely feel, like it has more personality, certainly. And again, that whole crew was, imagine if your entire race got genocided, and you were the one Battlestar to survive. That's a bloody good luck charm, isn't it? And your commander got you through because he knows his ship. Would you want to leave it just for the shinier one? I mean,
you can argue too that the Pegasus is also a good luck charm because it did survive the same genocidal attack.
True.
And it's more equipped. It's better equipped. You can replace your lost Vipers. You can train new pilots without risking actual Viper craft.
Well, that was a great thing because just like in Star Trek Voyager, they have 83 torpedoes. No, they have 230. Wait, what? When the Pegasus suddenly appear, they always lose a Viper in every single battle and multiple in many. But finally getting the Pegasus was a great excuse to have new Vipers, especially the newer class, or I guess the standard class, because that was exclusively what the Pegasus was armed with. Restock. They explained how you can make new bullets, new assault rifles. I mean, there's only a finite amount of things in this fleet, and they can't build new things. So getting the Pegasus, especially a ship that big, you'd assume they'd have armories. If you've seen the scale charts, I mean, the top and bottom, I assume they have twice as many armories. It's hugely important. And I mean, just seeing the Pegasus, in the battles, they destroy base stars in a few hits. Unfortunately, as we saw at the beginning of the plan, the fleet, just to take out one planet, was like 24 base stars. So it doesn't matter, the Cylons are ready, and they have probably hundreds of ships. It doesn't matter if you can, FTL in, okay, yes, you took out a base star, but guess what, you have 2 ships ever. They have 500. Those sorts of engagements don't mean much in the grand scale of the war, especially since I'm sure they're all robots. They have automated construction yards, building new base stars by the dozen. That's why I say, its sacrifice didn't mean much, because they, destroyed 3. Good job. Guess what? They literally have 10 more in the next system waiting. So very sad, and they should have kept it, but they had a good time with it, and it was a lot of good stories, and it will, being able to do this show in uniform, and do new renders of this ship really is a treat, because it's one of my favourite sci-fi ships. So as a thank you, Stuart, for letting me do the ship, and that's sort of my big ramble there. Do you have any final thoughts? I mean, is there anything you don't like about the ship?
The fact that it got destroyed.
And design-wise, Stuart. Design-wise.
And the fact that it wasn't the Battlestar Galactica like it should have been. No, design-wise, I think it's great. I love the dual flight deck pods
wonderful.
and stuff. Yeah, there's nothing. I don't think I'd change anything on it. I think it's a perfect homage to the original Battlestar Galactica and a great addition to that universe. So yeah, I don't have any complaints.
And looks bloody kick-ass.
Yes, and thank you again for your renders and all the hard work you put into it. I know it took forever to render a lot of that stuff.
There's one little thing when they started Galactica, when the Pegasus first appeared, because of they built these ships very, very well, so you can get very close. But because of how powerful the computers were, they literally could not load both Pegasus and Galactica in the same scene at the same time. The computers they'd crash. It was only right before the Pegasus got destroyed they could physically load both in to set up a scene. So you expect me to do that? Okay, fine. And some of those renders took a while because of that. I mean, these are really massive hero ships. Is there any surprises you had with the scaling of the 2 ships? I mean, you get a sense from the show. Is there anything that surprised you about the differences between the 2 ships? Is it bigger than you thought, smaller than you thought, more armored than you thought? Haven't done research?
It's a little bit smaller than I anticipated. I expected it to be a little bit longer in size, than Galactica. It is bigger, but it's not as big as I would have anticipated initially. But other than that, just the height and the overall just mass of the ship compared to Galactica kind of surprised me. Because, like I said, I was used to the original one where they're basically the exact same design. According to some of the dialogue in the original series, it was just says it was a bigger ship. So you never really got any specs or whatever that I can recall. I'd have to go back and watch. But yeah, I did expect it to be quite a bit bigger. That's the only thing that kind of threw me off.
Yeah, obviously these scale charts are based on both real models from the show, so you can't really beat that. But I will say that while it's not that much longer, I mean, it's got probably double the internal volume.
Yeah.
That's where it increased in size, which obviously is all those extra, it's also a factory. It's a factory ship as well, so that's probably where that goes. But anyway, guys, that is it for this episode of Fleetyards. You guys donated, you supported us to hit that 900 goal on Patreon. We did the X303 Prometheus. We've done this, I think, really excellent episode. Thanks, Stuart, for the script on Pegasus. Hope we did you guys proud because you guys were excited for it. That $1,000 goal is where we need to be and stay to make the show a regular thing. These shows take a lot of extra time, so we need to keep that at 1,000 and beyond, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more Fleetyards regular episodes. Like one a month probably would be the regular release date, I would think. Schedule. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to doing more. I always learn a lot, and really gets me wanting to watch these shows more and more if I haven't already, or brush up on them if I watched them a long time ago. So thank you to all you guys for supporting us. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, click the little bell notification so you get notified every time we upload a video, and check out Trekyards if you're a Star Trek fan and don't even know about it. Trekyards is our main bread and butter, as it were, where we know a lot more about this stuff. But yeah, until then, I would say visit Trekyards.com, check us out, and we'll see you around the galaxy, I guess. So say we all.
So say we all.
So say we all. Next time it'll be about me, guys, right? Star Wars. I'm sorry.
Bye, guys.
Bye.